And welcome, everyone, and welcome back to the Mid Podcast, where today I will review House of Dragon, Season 3, Episode 1, kicked off this past Sunday. And I'm going to title this podcast Fire, Blood, and Broken Expectations. So, we're going to dive headfirst into the fire return of House of the Dragon. After what felt like an eternity between seasons, HBO has finally brought us Season 3, Episode 1, titled Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood. Alrighty. Well, it did give us one of the most anticipated battles from George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, the Battle of the Gauntlet. Now, if you listened to the podcast before, you know I love this franchise. I love dragons. I love political scheming. I love morally questionable blonde people arguing over chairs. But I also believe no episode is perfect. So today, this is what I'm going to discuss. What worked, what didn't, the biggest surprises, character development, book changes, production value, and the future of the season. And of course, I will answer the most important question. Was this a great season premiere, or did HBO once again give us Dragon Blue Balls? Well, let's get into it. We're going to start part 1 with the big picture. The biggest thing I noticed, this episode feels completely different from Season 2 finale. Season 2 ended with a lot of setup. Armies marching, dragons gathering, characters preparing, viewers waiting, and we're still waiting. And Season 3 opens by saying, "You wanted war? Here's war." The Battle of the Gauntlet dominated the episode, and it immediately escalated the conflict between Team Black and Team Green. Now, was this a smart decision? One of the biggest criticism of Season 2 was pacing. People felt like the show spent too much time moving chess pieces and not enough time knocking them off the board. Episode 1 corrected this problem immediately. The war is here, and nobody is safe anymore. The good, the Battle of the Gauntlet. So I'm going to start with the obvious. The battle was spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. This is the kind of sequence fans have wanted since Season 1. We have dragon combat, naval warfare, explosions, firestorms, and my favorite thing, chaos. And unlike some fantasy battles that become visual noise, this one remains surprisingly easy to follow. Every major participant feels important. You understand the stakes, you understand who's winning and who's losing, and most importantly, you understand why the battle matters. The visual effects deserve enormous praise. The dragons finally feel like living weapons of mass destruction. Not just pets you pet every now and then. Not just fantasy creatures somebody thought of. They were weapons. When Viramax and Moondancer enter the battle, the entire tone changes. You can practically feel the panic. Ships are incinerated. Men are thrown into the sea. Entire fleets become kindling. That's exactly how dragons should feel. Now let's discuss a big moment. The death of Jace. Well, he's gone. He's dead. He's finished. Kapooey! The heir to Rhaenyra dies during the Battle of the Gauntlet after Viramax is brought down. This moment works because Jace had quietly become one of the show's most likable characters. He wasn't perfect, he wasn't flashy, but he was competent. And in Westeros, that's practically a superpower. The tragedy isn't just that he dies, It's that he dies trying to be the leader everyone needed him to become. His death fundamentally changes Team Black. Before this battle, there was hope. After this battle, there's vengeance, there's grief, there's rage. And, well, Emma Darcy is going to have an absolute feast acting through all the emotional fallout. So, can we take a moment to appreciate Coriolis Verlon? He remains one of the most compelling characters in the entire series. Every scene he appears in, he carries weight. He's not driven by prophecy, he isn't driven by destiny. He is, however, driven by legacy. And the Battle of the Gauntlet puts him directly into the center of the action, including his confrontation with Loar. He feels like a real statesman trapped in a fantasy story. He's one of the few people who understands what war actually costs. And every time he speaks, the audience remembers there are consequences beyond dragons and crowns. Well, one of my favorite developments was Rhaena finally bonding with Sheepstealer. Book readers have waited years for this. The show, well, it teased it, it hinted at it, and it dragged it out. Well, it's finally happening. The relationship between Rider and Dragon feels unique. Sheepstealer isn't a polished royal dragon. It's wild, unpredictable, dangerous, which makes Rhaena's connection fascinating. This could become one of the most interesting Dragon Rider dynamics in the entire series. Well, let's talk about the bad. The pacing problem. Now, let's get critical. The premiere is very good, but it isn't perfect. The biggest issue? Yes, pacing. Ironically, after 2 seasons of moving slowly, and I do mean slowly, like at a snail's pace, this episode sometimes moves way too fast. The Battle of the Gauntlet consumes so much screen time that some emotional moments don't fully land. Certain character beats feel kind of rushed. Some reactions happen so quickly that viewers barely have time to process them before the next explosion arrives. And I understand why. The show wanted a massive premiere. Well, you accomplished that mission. But occasionally it feels like the battle is competing with the characters rather than serving them. Well, let's talk about the scene everyone wants to discuss. The scene between Alicent and Edmund. The kiss. What? What was that? Well, the moment has already become one of the most controversial scenes in the series. I understand what the writers were attempting. They're emphasizing Amon's psychological instability. They're showing his emotional dependence on Alicent. They're making viewers uncomfortable. Well, again, they accomplished their mission. But did we need the specific scene? I'm not convinced. Sometimes House of the Dragon mistakes shock value for complexity. The audience already understood that Aemon had issues. We did not need HBO to grab us by the shoulders and scream, "Look how many issues he has!" The scene will certainly be remembered. I'm just not sure it will be remembered for the right reasons. So, book readers know that House of Dragon has never been a one-to-one adaptation. So, season 3, well, you continue the trend. Some changes worked, some don't. The biggest challenge is balancing surprise with faithfulness. Adaptations should improve material when possible, but every change risks. The premiere takes several liberties during the battle and with character outcomes. Some fans will love the unpredictability, Others, well, you hate it. Personally, I judge changes by one standard. Does it improve the story? For some of these changes, yes. For others, the jury is still deliberating. One of the exciting teas is the growing presence of Tesseron and the setup for Daeron Targaryen. For years, fans have asked, where's he at? Did HBO forget that he's alive? That he exists? Did he miss his casting call? Did he not pick up the phone when it rang? Well, apparently not. The premiere finally begins setting the stage. And if the show handles him correctly, it could become one of the most important players in the entire conflict. Alright, so where do I land? The premiere was strong. Not flawless, but strong. The strengths: incredible battle sequence. Visual effects: excellent. Major consequences: we had strong performances. We had a genuine feeling that war had begun. Well, if you have strengths, you gotta have those weaknesses, and let's look at those. Occasionally rushed pacing, a few questionable writing choices, some emotional beats get lost in the spectacle, and the Alicent Aemon scene feeling more shocking than necessary. Well, overall, I think I would give this episode, I don't know, 8.5 out of 10 dragons. It wasn't quite perfect. It was not quite season 1, episode 8 territory, but easily one of the strongest premieres the show has produced. Most importantly, it feels like the story finally has momentum again. The Battle of the Gauntlet delivers the scale many viewers expected, and Jace's death instantly raises the stakes for the remainder of the season. So, can HBO maintain this level of intensity while giving the characters room to breathe? Season 3 could end up being the best season of House of Dragon yet. That will be determined. And that's going to do it for today's episode. Did you love the premiere? Did you hate it? Was the Battle of the Gauntlet everything you hoped it would be? And seriously, please tell me, what did you think about that Alicent and Aemon scene? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next week when I break down episode 2. So, until then, keep your dragons fed, please keep your fleets protected, and never trust a Targaryen family meeting. Until next week, I will see you guys later.